UT San Diego obtained a draft report commissioned by the county assessing its food stamp phone line. According to the report by Intelligy, 5 out of 6 calls are dropped, and those that do make it through wait an average of 30 minutes to speak to someone. The report goes on to say 350,000 calls a month are not answered because the Health and Human Services Agency has not hired enough people. Joining me in studio are Bill Oswald, Chair of the Caring Council, and Joni Halpern, Director of Supportive Parents Information Network. Both groups work to support low-income families. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Bill Oswald, I want to begin with you. Was there anything that surprised you in this report in terms of the performance of the county?
Not at all. No, actually I was pleased to see that they actually identified some of the problems we've been talking about for the past 5 years.
Let's talk about some of those problems. So basically, people going to apply for food stamps using this phone line, not getting through.
Yeah, not just trying anybody who's got a case. I mean, if I apply for food stamps and I don't hear in 2 weeks and I'm told to call this line, if I'm one of the 48% who get through, I have to stay on the phone for 30 minutes, and then I'm not sure they can help me anyway when I get there. So they've really created almost an impossible scenario for anyone to get assistance with their cases.
Now, Joni, you've been working with people for a number of years to try and navigate through this system. Is this the story that you hear often?
Oh, absolutely. Without question. It's all I hear. And I think we've tried to say to the county, even before they instituted this nutrition security plan, that 2 of its components were problematic. One was the business process reengineering that assigned no caseworker to an outcome for a case and left everything on a task-based group system. And secondly, the access center, which was even back then in 2008 and 2009 a problem. And neither of those 2 things has been looked at until this Intelligy report.
Now, you actually go down to these offices with people, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And what's that experience like?
Horrible. It's not horrible because people are mean. It's horrible because it takes sometimes an hour and a half to 2 hours to get into the building, just into the building. And then you sit there for 2 or 3 hours trying to get to the right person who can help you. And then you come back the next day because you didn't get everything done. And you're back there 2, 3, sometimes 4 times. You can talk to people in the lines and they'll tell you, I don't call Access anymore because I never get help, so I have to come down here.
I want to share some numbers with the people at home, numbers that I know both of you are very familiar with in terms of the people who are enrolled in the food stamp program. Now, we know back in 2006, 83,000 people in San Diego County were enrolled. That number, as of last year, did grow to 236,000 people. But now it's important to note, though, our participation rate has not necessarily grown. There is a national organization that evaluates this. We are still last. This is according to a national survey of 22 large cities. So, Bill, is it just that we're seeing numbers go up because demand has gone up, or is the county actually getting better at administering this program?
Well, our numbers indicate the county is keeping up with demand, but not lowering or increasing their participation rate. And we've sort of clocked it using unemployment as an indicator of demand. And if you use that, what you see over the time is that the lines are almost identical, which would indicate that, yes, they are keeping up with demand, but the fact that there's about 60% of the people who are eligible not getting it, that pool is remaining outside the system.
Because we have a 40% participation rate. In other words, about 40% of the people who are eligible actually get this benefit. So I want to play a clip for our audience. We spoke with Supervisor Ron Roberts, who's actually chair of the County Board of Supervisors, earlier this week about the food stamp program. I asked him about the increase in numbers and about the county's low national ranking, and here's what he said.
We have changed dramatically how we can qualify people, the number of places, how we can reach them. And we're seeing the results. We've added a lot of new employees to make this happen. And we've still got a lot of things that we need to do. So we're not at the end, but I think we're clearly going in the right direction. People who are eligible should have an opportunity, and we would like to see them avail themselves.
Joni, I want to get your reaction to that clip.
I think it's a good intention. I think it's great that they've increased their numbers. I think that even if we take the Intelligy report as the best description of what has to happen next, it's going to take an infusion of money for staffing and technology and a whole bunch of other changes that I'm not sure that the Board of Supervisors has committed itself to.
I'm glad you bring up money because KPBS actually looked at budgets going back several years in terms of the County Board of Supervisors and what they spend their money on. And we did see a trend that they spent the budget for protection for public safety increased while the Health and Human Services budget continually decreased. Is this a matter of public will, actually having politicians putting their money, I'll use the cliche, where their mouth is, and spending more money on Health and Human Services to hire more people?
It's clearly, I mean, all ends as a political issue, and it's a budgetary issue, and the Board of Supervisors has been clear that they have no particular interest in serving this interest. There was a fascinating article in Voice of San Diego maybe a year ago. I think it was Kelly Bennett, I think, did it, where she interviewed each of the 5 supervisors, and they made it clear that this is very low on their priority. And part of it's related to that issue of that the county operates, Nick Macchione uses the word program integrity. For us, that means we assume everybody who's applying is cheating until they prove otherwise. And so the whole fraud system that they have is a major deterrent. And so they spend a lot of money doing that, which could be used to improve their services.
And we will have an opportunity to actually ask Nick Macchione about that. He is the head of the county's Health and Human Services Agency, and he will be on tomorrow's program as well. I want to thank you, Bill Oswald and Joni Halpern, for both being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.